Hi, my name is Roy D. Adong from Section B. So, I'm here to report the Module 2 in month of May. The modules is all about Sing Sing prisons. Sing Sing Prisons Correctional Facility. It's a maximum security prisons operated by the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervisions in the village of Ossining, New York. In 1970, the name of the prison was changed to the Ossining Corrections Facility, but it's reverted to its original name in 1985. Why is Sing Sing prisons famous? With the advent of electric chair in 1981, Sing Sing became notorious for the execution. Although the electric chair was developed at neighboring Arbor, are also all executions within the state were the carry out of Sing Sing until 1963. The famous or this called death chair was later moved to Heaven prisons. Sing Sing is the full Sing Sing Correctional Facility maximum security prisons located in Ossining, New York, in the use since 1826. It is one of the oldest penal institutions in the United States. It is also among the most well-known in the country, especially notable for its harsh conditions in the 19th and 20th centuries. Originally known as Mount Pleasant Prison, it was constructed in the village of Sing Sing on the east bank of the Hudson River, some 30 miles and 48 km north in New York City. It was designed to provide additional prison space and to replace Newgate Prison. Construction was undertaken in 1825 by convict laborers under the supervision of Ellen Leeds, the warden of Auburn State Prisons. He especially became head of the new prisons with it opened in 1826, though it was not complete until 1828. The prison's population's role in the mid-19th century resulting more constructions. The four historic complex was soon 6 histories and prisons eventually housed more than 1,600 inmates. Because most of the early convicted criminals traveled by boat to Sing Sing, the phrase "up the river" come to mean going to prison. One of the notable visitors to the prison was Alexis de Tocqueville, author of Democracy in America. The French government sent him and Gustave de Biomas to the United States in 1831 to gather information about America penal system. The two men were amazed at the total subjugation under which prisoners worked and the administrative power of warden wielded at Sing Sing. Lent resigned as warden of Sing Sing in 1830 and returned to Airborne in 1838. It was asked to leave the prisons a year later after the death of the prisoner who was punished severely for feigning illness. Despite his record, Sing Sing rehired lands in 1843. Sweeping and flogging were commonplace punishment to Sing Sing. Frequently used was the cut or nine tails, a cruel sweeping construction pulled lash were often tipped with metal or barbs. Its use was finally abolished by the New York State Legislature in 1848. In addition, while Lent was warden, inmates were expected to refrain from making noise, which include ticking, which the advent of the electric chair in 1891. Sing Sing became notorious for its executions. Although the electric chair was developed of neighboring Airborne, almost all executions within the state were carried out of Sing Sing until 1963. The infamous death chair was later moved to the Greek Haven prison. Sing Sing was also the site of reform that affected the national penal system. Reformer Thomas Mott of Borneo was developed his penology theories, while voluntarily incarcerated for the year of Airborne, served as Sing Sing warden in 1914 to 1915 and 1916. But his immediate sweeping change were aslayed, and he resigned under intense political pressure. During his tenure, however, the first psychological work of inmates began. More reforms were instituted under Lewis Edward Lowers, who served as warden from 1920 to 1941. He notably improved the living conditions within the prisons and allowed inmates to participate in sport. In 1901, the resident of Sing Sing's village changed its name to Ossining. They wanted to distance, if not disassociated the town from the notorious prisons. For the same reason, in 1970, the state renamed to the prisons Ossining Corrections Policy or no facility. Local merchants got the previous name restored in 1983, thinking the catches of Sing Sing. By them, the prisons was part of the American popular cultures, frequently appearing in movies, TV shows, and books, would translate into tourism. Prisons and institutions for the confident of prisons who have been remanded or held in custody by the judicial authority or who had been deprived to their liberty following convictions from a crime. A person found guilty in a felony or a misdemeanor by this misdemeanor may be required to serve a prison sentence. The holding of cause prisons awaiting trials remain in important functions of contemporary prisons, and its some countries such prisons constitute the majority for the prison populations. In the United Kingdom, for the example, generally about 1/5 of the prisons populations in convicted or sentenced and sentenced, while more than two-third of those custody is India are pre-trials detained. Until the late 18th century, prisons were used primarily for the confident of the debtors, prisons accused of crime and awaiting trials, and convict awaiting to imposition for their sentence, usually death or deportations overseas. A sentence of imprisonment was really imposed, and they only for minor crimes. As the use of capital punishments began to decline in the late 18th century, the prison was increasingly used by court as a place of punishment, eventually becoming the chief means of punishing serious offenders. The use of imprisonments subsequently spread worldwide, after by means of colonial empires that brought the practice of country which no indigenous concept of prisons. By the early 21st century, a majority of century has abolished the death penalty in law or in a practice, and imprisonment was consequently that most severed form of punishments the court could impose.